Hey everybody!
Hello.
Hello. Here we are, our second week of Blueprint for Freedom.
Yeah.
And we're super excited to be with you guys again. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you say hi when you join us. I am going to probably turn the comments off while we're talking just so that we're not distracted, but we do want you to say hi and we'll definitely get back to you as soon as the video is done. We will reply to all your comments and questions. So like I said, this is week 2 of Blueprint for Freedom, and we're already hearing testimonies. Dan and I minister to people every day and every week, and we use the principles that we've learned for healing and freedom. And so we are hearing some testimonies from people that's pretty powerful. What God is starting to do is, we mentioned it last week that your physical health is often tied to what's happening emotionally in your soul or in your subconscious. And so we're hearing testimonies. This lady at church, we prayed for her for some emotional healing, and she texted and messaged us like the next day and said that her physical healing that she had been struggling with, back and neck problems and chronic pain for years, completely healed with one prayer and one releasing of some stuff that had been bothering her.
It is amazing.
Yes.
Right.
And then my friend Abby commented on last week's video that she's been through some of this with us, this same healing process, and she can testify firsthand results in her own life, immediate freedom from something that had been bothering her for years. So we want to hear your testimonies. When you have testimonies, we want to hear them. We would love it. I mean, you can comment on these videos, but even better if you could email us. I will put my email in the comments. It is emily.a.klotz, Klotz, at iCloud.com. Okay, so I'll put it in the comments just so you guys have it to look back at, but we would love to hear your testimonies of how God is giving you some healing and some freedom along the way, so we can share with other people and give them hope. Because that is something that God spoke to me today as I was praying for all of you watching live and watching the replay, watching on YouTube. God cares about every single person that is going to benefit from today's video, from this entire series. And he just said, people need hope. Like, these people, they need hope. They need to know that I intend to heal them and I intend to set them free. So things can and will change for you is what I wanted to tell you today. So this week, the title is Recognize. All of each week is going to be a step of the process. This is the first step in the healing and freedom process for you. It is not a formula, but each week it's going to be, the title's going to start with R, so it's easy to write down and remember. So put Recognize at the top of your paper if you're taking notes. And so each week is going to be part of the process. So this is a very, very important step because it's the start of the process of healing. Now, Dan, again, I just want to say that's not a formula. Like these 5 steps aren't a formula, because sometimes as humans, we just try to like lean on A, B, C equals I'm going to get the results I want. It depends on, everybody is a little bit different. It depends on you doing your part, and God will for sure do his part, you know?
Yeah.
So, but it is a process.
And it's really just the truth, you know, even today, you can be so full of joy and freedom, even just listening today. Like, today is this very significant day. It's kind of the start of it, really. We just kind of had an overview last week, but really today, if you could just grab hold of it and believe and hear what you're believe what you're hearing today and get it in your heart, this can be a tremendous start and even breakthrough. I've personally received a powerful breakthrough just in what we're going to talk about today. But we want to put the pedal to the metal. So this whole rest of 5 weeks, we just can't wait to see what God's going to do. Bring awesome freedom in your life. That makes us so happy when you are discovering freedom, newfound freedom in your life.
So Dan has a story that he wants to start this out with, it's kind of a parable or a picture of what could happen in your life.
Yeah, so I want to say one of the greatest gifts that you can receive is when you become aware of the hidden thing that's been holding you back. And I think a lot of people live life and they just don't know what's happening or what is going on here. Where does this come from? It's really it's an invisible thing, really, because we don't really know. But actually today we'll help you make that invisible thing very visible so that you can identify it and recognize it. Yes. But years ago, probably 2008, when I got Emily her Jeep Commander, and I remember it was one summer, it was raining a lot, or spring or something, and the water was like getting inside the Jeep, and right where your feet were, there was like a puddle of water. Like every time it rained, I'm like, man, what's going on? So I called the dealership. I said, hey, what's going on? What can I do? They said, well, you probably have to bring it in. And at the low end, because we have to remove the whole moon roof, and it's probably a seal issue. It's going to cost like $1,000 on the low end, maybe $1,500 on the high end. I thought, oh my goodness, I don't have $1,500. This is overwhelming. So what did I do? Well, I went to YouTube, and I got on YouTube and I found this guy who had the same problem. And long story short is it was a very, very simple fix. What it was
duct tape.
No, it wasn't duct tape. Where the moonroof is, there's these two little drainage areas, little holes that go all the way down the side of the vehicle. And so when the water gets in that, it can get in, but it actually flows down. But it was caught. There was something in it, leaves, debris was plugged up, and it would just flood back into the car. So anyways, the simple fix was go to Home Depot, grab some thick wire, get some Drano, let the Drano sit in there, and then just jab that wire through there, and voila, $7 later, it was fixed. And so I say that to say this, is that probably what you're dealing with definitely started out small. Yeah. But it seems so overwhelming, and it seems like it's going to take forever to get this thing fixed. But I will tell you that's not true, because I believe that God can do something very quickly, quickly. And the whole point of that story was, I want you to know that freedom just means to flow again. It means God wants to take away the thing that has been blocking the flow, and so that you can live in the abundant life that Jesus died for and promised us to live in. Because I think we spend too much time trying to fix the wrong problem, and we just get overwhelmed at times when it is very simple.
So things can pile up over time.
They do.
They pile up in your soul. Things happen. You do things you regret. Things happen to you. Sometimes small offenses that happen at home, you don't really deal with them, and it piles up over time. And so it ends up hurting you more in the long run because you didn't deal with something small early on. But we're here to help you identify what those blockages are, to recognize what's happening and what is hurting you and what is holding you back from being the person that God made you to be, from really like knowing who you are, who you actually are, your real identity, and being able to live freely in that and fulfill your purpose.
Right.
So we want you to be free.
Because when things change on the inside, this is so true, then things begin to change around you. Like when, God's always dealing with the inside, and this is what this whole thing is about. Emily's going to show you
how
that works, right? And then we'll describe it, and then we'll make it very as clear as we can how to identify and recognize those strongholds so that you can begin to demolish them and see them gone forever.
We want to help you with that. So hopefully you watched last week's Blueprint for Freedom, because that was how the mind works. It was the introduction, exactly how the mind works. And I drew it out for you guys again here, this handy dandy clear thing. But make sure that you watch week 1, because if you haven't watched it, I go and explain about this. And I'm going to explain it in a little bit more detail this time, but we're not going into all the scientific explanation for everything. Like when we do retreats then and conferences about this, then we'll go into more of that scientific explanation, how this all works and why it works. Okay, but just know this is a picture of your conscious mind in your subconscious mind. So your conscious mind is like your brain. your subconscious mind, and then your body and your life, like the results that you have happening in your life, everything that's happening in your life. Okay. So, what I wanted to say, conscious mind, last time I told you, all of your experiences and everything are coming into your conscious mind. It acts as a filter for your subconscious, okay? So your conscious mind are things that you see, that you hear, that you think about on a regular basis, things that you experience in life. You're receiving input all the time into your conscious mind. You're able to filter that. You can accept or reject ideas that are coming at you. Things that you see in the movies or things that you read in a book or something, you can accept it or reject it. But with all the information that's always coming at you all the time these days, this is the information age, you guys, and there's like 10,000 different pieces of information coming at you per day. Your conscious mind can only process 1,000 out of those 10,000 things that are coming towards you. So just know that it can be overwhelming unless you consciously are thinking about filtering some of that stuff that is coming at you. Also, when you're a baby or a child, I mentioned this last time, that a child doesn't know how to reject, especially from 0 to 7 years old, doesn't know how to reject negative ideas as right or wrong or good or bad. Very, very open to suggestion, almost like when you're sleeping, and very open, like a little sponge, like taking things in. So they end up believing a lot of the things that they hear and see when they're an infant. And by the age of 7 is when you can start resisting new ideas better. Their brain is more developed at the age of 7, and the subconscious starts to try to keep them safe. So all these things coming in, they end up going into the subconscious if you accept them, or if you're a very young child, and then they become something you believe. So by the age of 7, these beliefs are pretty set because you start to want to keep yourself safe based on what you already believe at that age.
Yeah, we call them mindsets.
Mindsets, right.
It's set right in there. It's and by the way, this middle area right here, the subconscious rules about 95% of your life. It's really who we are. All of our beliefs and things that we believed become our convictions are right in that area.
Right. So let's say even as an adult, you have a lot of negative ideas coming in. A lot of negative things happening, a lot of negative thoughts happening in your head coming in, or let's say failure, things happen, that you fail at some different things, whatever. So that's constantly coming in. Then it's going to go into your subconscious as a belief, and all of a sudden you're going to start believing, I am a failure. Your thoughts are going to be very negative. Things are going to, you're going to believe that life is negative. Okay? I am a failure. Life is negative. And then your subconscious ends up directing your body and your life. These are the results that you get. You make decisions and actions out of what you believe in your subconscious. It is not out of what you're thinking about in your head. What you know to be true with your head may be different than what you actually believe in your subconscious. So let me just say, like, that your subconscious often can believe things that your conscious mind knows are false, but it believes it to be true. As an example, a amputee. Someone has had a limb amputated and their subconscious still believes that they have that limb. And so they literally can feel it, physically can feel it. And even though with their head, they know that to be false. So that's just a little example. But
yeah, it's imprinted, it's ingrained. This is what happens when so much of certain information, good or bad, goes into your subconscious. It becomes again like an imprint.
Yes.
It becomes a groove that's their mindset.
Right. So this is why teachers also have you repeat things, because when you learn something over and over, you read something over and over, or you sing something over and over, you learn it and it becomes something you believe, that you know without having to even think about it anymore, like driving a car or riding a bike. You just already, you know it, and your actions come from what you know and believe. So that is why, like, things that you think about over and over, or things that you hear or see over and over, are going to come into your subconscious, become something you believe, even if you don't want it to sometimes. But good news, you can change it.
Yeah,
you can change the things that are hurting you,
Yes.
things you believe that are not even true about yourself, about God, about other people.
Right.
You can change that. And so we're here today to help you recognize what they are, so you can change it.
People live their whole lives, like
Yes.
long lives, and never actually think about this.
Yes.
They just continue to struggle. They push it down and they struggle. But again, you don't have to, because when you can identify the negative mindset, the destructive mindset, the trauma, whatever
Yes.
happened in your life, you can identify it, then that's the time that you can take care of it, and you can demolish it and get it out, heal from it, and get free from it.
Yes.
But what are we talking about there? Well, if you go to the Bible, there's two words that are used. One is stronghold, and then the other is strong man.
Yes.
And so stronghold is when you have a thought, and then you repeat that thought, and you believe that thought, like
Yes.
Emily said, and it's ingrained in
Yes.
the subconscious mind, sub meaning below your cognitive mind. And now, because that area runs 95% of your life, it is causing you to do things you really don't want to do.
Yep.
And Paul says it here. It says, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for pulling down strongholds." There it is, casting down arguments. And every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into the captivity to the obedience of Christ. So he's talking about thoughts, arguments, and knowledge. So it's very clear that now those strongholds, like Emily's talking about, are now ingrained, imprinted in that subconscious area,
Yes.
but they are also causing trouble in our lives, and
Yeah.
tension. So that's a
They're
stronghold.
like kind of boulders in your soul, like things that have
Yes.
built up over time,
Yes.
that have become big, and they ruling your life.
Yes, and what we do is, without knowing it, we actually defend it. It's weird. We build up walls around that thing. Now, it could be a hurt, or it could be shame.
Yeah.
Maybe you're humiliated. Someone said something to you.
Yeah.
And because you don't want to feel that pain anymore, you build a wall.
Right.
And that goes back to another stronghold metaphor, which goes back to the Old Testament. We call it Jericho.
Yes.
It's an obvious thing, but it's the next thing. If you can take care of this next thing, then everything else begins to flow in your life.
Yeah.
So a stronghold is an argument. It's reasoning. It's something that you're defending. It's knowledge that is high, that needs to come down.
Yes.
That's what it is. And then the other one is a strong man. I think this is very important. So Jesus talks about the strong man. He says no one is able to break into a mighty man's house and steal his property unless he first overpowers the strong man and ties him up.
Right.
Then you can.
One big thing.
Yes, then you can enter the house. So he was saying, so we know Paul talks about it's in our mind or subconscious, and Jesus says it's usually one thing. It's not strong men, it's strong man. So we want to help you recognize this stronghold or strong man in your life. But
Yes.
because the strong man was created with one thought,
Yes.
and that thought believed has now formed an overpowering dark shadow in your subconscious that now actually controls
Yeah.
a part of your life.
And a lot of different thoughts and beliefs can be attached to that one thing, because you
Right.
could believe, I have to be afraid of this type of person, or maybe you believe like people can't be trusted, or maybe you believe I'm always going to be rejected. All of those things are probably based around one big thing.
Yeah.
And so we're going to help you identify especially the one main thing that bothers you over and over in your life that's causing you a lot of pain and holding you back.
5 ways to recognize your stronghold. Number
Yeah.
1 is your thoughts. Your thoughts. So they're called automatic negative thoughts, or an ant. And it makes sense they would call them an ant.
Automatic negative thoughts. Write that down.
When
Ant.
one ant finds food, guess what? They're all coming after it, coming after the food.
Yep.
And so it's an automatic negative thought. By the way,
Okay.
that subconscious runs 24/7. So that thing that's in there is running even when you're sleeping. So
Right.
this automatic negative thought, it's kind of a default thought. It's something you go to without even knowing it over and over again. And I love this, what Charles Glassman said. He says, believing in negative thoughts is the single greatest obstruction to success. Makes sense. Believing in negative thoughts is the single greatest obstruction to success. So
Okay, so you're telling them how to recognize what is happening in them.
Yes.
So the number one way is to look at, like, think about what you're thinking about.
yes, think about what you're thinking about.
Find out what your thoughts are.
Recognize the automatic negative thought. We're not talking about, there's some good stuff in you, right?
Yes.
But we're talking about the thing that's holding you
That's
back.
hurting you, yes.
One way is to think about your thoughts, and I'll show you a way at the end here how to do that. But what's happening is that stronghold is creating an inner dialogue that speaks to your mind,
Right.
and it's telling you things like for example, maybe you grew up and your mom and dad, you were poor, and they said, we're never going to have enough. Money doesn't grow on trees. We could never afford that. And because you heard that and felt it enough, it's now dropped into that subconscious, and now it actually speaks, so that now, without even knowing it, you're actually being directed by those thoughts. Well, I guess we can never afford it. I guess we'll never have enough. One thing that I struggled with was this thing called orphan thinking, where I felt like I had to scratch and claw for everything. I felt like God wasn't a father to me. He was more of a master, and I had to perform for him. So once I began to recognize what that is, I could begin to dismantle it and demolish it.
Yeah.
No one's going to take care of me. I must do it myself. So those are thoughts that are actually happening over and over again. And they started with one thought, and because one ant came in, the rest of the ants are now following.
Yeah.
And kind of creating that, they're creating a groove in your imprint, your subconscious.
Right. So when something happens, you automatically go to that thought. Well, I guess nobody's going to take care of me, so I guess I'm just going to have to do this myself.
Yes.
I guess I'll never afford, that thing that I really need or want.
Yes. Or I'm a failure. No, you may have failed. You failed once in your life, and all of a sudden this voice says, no, you're a failure, you're a failure, you're a failure. So now it holds you back. You're fearful about doing anything in life because you think I'm going to fail anyway. So it's just crazy how that happens. But it's an inner dialogue that will produce an outer dialogue, which is the second way that you recognize a stronghold, is through words.
Yes.
And this is a great one. This is probably one of the easier ones to figure out. All of a sudden, if you
notice what you're talking about.
Yes, notice what you're talking about. Find a trusted friend. If you're married, talk to your spouse and say, what do I say a lot? What are the common phrases that I say?
Yes.
Do you say, fill in the blank, I'm so worried about, fill in the blank, or I'm afraid that, fill in the blank, I'm a failure, I'm not valued, I'm stupid, or a certain person's name keeps coming to your mind, and you begin to speak about that person on a regular basis.
Right. Yeah, so while Dan is going through these ways to recognize what is keeping you from peace and joy, what's holding you back and hurting you in your soul or your subconscious, you also might be watching these trainings because you want to help other people get free. So this is another clue to helping someone else get some freedom, is listening to the words that they say. Obviously you can't get into their thoughts, but you could ask them what their thoughts are, prevalent thoughts, like we're doing with you guys, and you can definitely listen to the repeated phrases that they're saying.
For example, you can say, how's it going? And what's going to happen is that'll create conversation. And again, when you can get down to a little more under the surface, you're going to find some words that are going to be prevalent. Well, I'm afraid that, I'm
really worried
worried about that stuff. Well, what you do is you just kind of take some mental notes, or you just take a journal and,
Yep.
and write some things down, and you'll find
Or
usually
I just
a very
don't think I can do that. Or
Yes.
they talk about a person over and over, like
Right.
you said, and that may be bitterness or unforgiveness
Yes.
is there.
And there's a common theme. Again, remember, it started with one thought, but there's a common theme.
Yep.
It may be connected to a few things, but it's usually a common theme
Mm-hmm.
that you're going to hear. So we know that words are powerful. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Every word brings results, but here's the key. Every word will bring results, but it's the words spoken from the subconscious mind that brings the biggest result. So it's not really what you speak, it's where you speak from. It says
When you believe it.
Yes, out of the abundance of the heart,
Yes.
the mouth speaks. And that's talking about the subconscious. It's
Right.
talking about the inner person. Out of the abundance of the heart. So words is if it's what you speak. And it's also from where you speak. Because I can speak things from my head and it, they're not going to affect me because I don't really believe them. But when I start
Yeah.
speaking things from the heart, that's where the stronghold is.
Yes.
Right there. That's the area that so it's where you're speaking from. And usually where you're speaking from, it comes in abundance. Out of the abundance, there's
a lot.
many of those things happening
Right.
at the same time.
Yeah. So ask a good friend or your spouse, like, what are the words that I say over and over? If you have a hard time recognizing what
Yeah.
those words are. Yeah.
Yes. And let me just say this. Actually, when you start realizing this, recognizing it, it's actually going to become fun because now that was in control. Now you're in control. Now you're the one saying, wait a minute. Now I got you. I've got you in my crosshairs. Now I've got you. Now I know what to do. So this is how cool this is. And it's really a kind of a hide and seek kind of thing. You'll find it and you'll be like, okay, now it's time to go. But let me just say this.
Now I know what to do.
Right.
You're becoming self-aware, basically.
Yes.
Becoming
So thought,
aware.
you recognize strongholds or strong men with thoughts, with words,
Yes.
and also with feelings. This is really important.
That's a big one. Yeah.
Now, feelings, you can describe your feelings. And Emily said sometimes people can, and maybe that's true, but if you're sad, you'll know it. If you're depressed, you'll know it. If you're happy, you'll know it, right? So we know that when you have a certain feeling,
You know it.
yeah, when you have a certain feeling, it's always connected to a thought or a believed thought. Let's put it that way: a believed thought,
believed
thought that's down there.
Yes.
Again, good or bad, right?
Yeah, you might not know what that thought is, but
Right.
you might have a feeling. It's like,
Yes.
okay.
If you have a negative
All of a sudden
feeling,
I feel, I'm just so angry right
Yeah.
now, or,
Right.
And we're going to get to that in a second, but you feel just like, now where did this sadness come? I was in a good mood. I was really happy. Now all of a sudden I feel
Right.
sad, kind of down. Where did that come from?
here's
So,
the truth: not many
Notice.
people do that. They just feel sad. And
they
then what they
don't
do is
think
they
about
escape
it.
from it. Like, I'm just going to, but
Yeah.
we never really think about our thoughts, which is so true. So we think about our
important.
thoughts, our words, and then we have feelings that are
Yeah.
connected to our thoughts. And I think this is really interesting. I'll say this really quick, is that neuroscience and the medical community knows that when your heart has a certain feeling, what it does, let's say you feel sad, well, it sends these neuropeptides, which go to your brain, and these neuropeptides are information that tells your brain to create more cells that are more receptive to sadness or that feeling.
Right.
So if you're sad, it's going to say, okay, well,
I guess we need more sad cells.
I need more sad cells. And then it sends a message back down to the heart. So it's kind of a vicious cycle. Now, the good thing is that you can be happy. It'll create more happy cells. But here's the other truth, is that if you've been sad for a long time and you try to make yourself happy, when you start sending information of happiness to your brain, it's going to say, I don't have many of these cells. Like the information that, so if you, again, it's gonna feel unnatural, but this is so important because don't worry about it. You just need to create some more happy cells. You've been sad for so long. Do you know people have just been sad for so long? They've literally, their body, their mind has created cells receptive to sadness.
Right. So it almost becomes this addiction to
Yes.
sadness or depression
Yes.
in your body. And so one way out of that is, and we're going to talk about it in future weeks a lot more, is choosing to be thankful. choosing to think
Yeah.
something positive over and over instead of the over and over thoughts that created the sadness and the depression.
Right.
So you have to be very intentional about it
Yeah.
and begin to replace it. But we're going to get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Next
So think about this. If again, feelings, if you want to change your feelings, you'll need to change that subconscious mind. All coming back because those thoughts are creating feelings.
Yes.
The fourth one is, this is how you can find a stronghold, are just the reactions, especially the quick reactions. Getting defensive. We've all gotten defensive, but sometimes we never really think why.
Yes.
But there's a reason why you're getting defensive. What's happening is whatever reason, it's hitting something. It's hitting that nerve, but it's really hitting the strong man or the stronghold in the subconscious area, and it's sending you a message saying, hey, you're saying, I want to protect this. The walls are going to go up. I'm going to become defensive.
Yes.
You'll get agitated. You'll get tense really quick. But again, you're actually defending the stronghold and the strong man.
Yes.
You're protecting yourself from something.
Right. You're trying to protect yourself. So a quick reaction, notice what your reactions are. Like earlier today, I was thinking about a time that I got defensive and I was asking the Lord, like, okay, why did I get defensive? What was it in me that created that wall to try to protect myself, that made me feel defensive all of a sudden? Also, reactions are quick anger. You might lash out at someone. If a word comes at you that you don't like or you get defensive about it, you might quickly lash out at that person. Or I don't know, if you're really angry, if it's something really sensitive, you might throw something across the room. I don't know, whatever. There could be a quick reaction. So
we talked last week about amygdala hijacked and how all of a sudden we become very emotional without critically thinking about what, we don't give ourselves time.
Yes.
But the other thing with that is, I had a thought, but maybe I missed it. But no, it's okay.
Quick reaction,
yes.
Building a wall to protect yourself.
Yes, so that's a way that you can identify a stronghold in your subconscious.
Yes.
Again, you'll just have to kind of do some investigation. When those things happen. Don't be upset because everybody's got it. Just say, okay, we need to figure out for a moment where this is coming from and why I'm defending that thing over and over again.
So usually if you get defensive about the same thing over and over, the same type of thing over and over, and you're noticing, you're starting to recognize that you're getting defensive about that same type of thing or the same type of words coming at you or the same type of actions coming at you, that's going to help you identify what is happening in there, like what you're getting defensive about.
Right.
Oh, they always say this about me, or someone always disrespects me in this area, and that hurts and causes me to get defensive. So then you're like, okay, that's probably shame.
Right. And what I was going to say, I was going to say, there's a verse that says, that they hid the truth in their hearts, which is the subconscious, so that nothing would offend them. I love that verse. So there's a place you can be where you don't have to be defensive or offended because you've eradicated the stronghold and now you've got truth in there. Right. And the last one is an easier one too. It's actions. We just call them isms. Yeah. You'll notice that whenever there's some sort of ism, again, alcoholism, shopaholism, some addiction, being angry a lot over time. So these are kind of isms that are coming from that subconscious realm or the inward part of you. And so that's always an easier one to say is like, what is the, what do I keep falling into over and over again? So look at your actions. They're common actions. They're happening a lot. You'll try to suppress them. You'll try to stop them on your own, but they keep coming back, and it's because we're trying to fix the wrong problem. We're not getting down to that negative mindset or stronghold in the subconscious.
Yeah, and again, it's usually one major thing. So you might have thoughts and feelings and actions and reactions to all these different things, but they usually have a common thread to them. There is often like something underneath it that is one or two main things. Fear is a huge one. Shame is a huge one, right? So, okay, we got to hurry up and wrap it up. But like, if you're helping someone else get some freedom, listen to the words they're saying.
Yeah.
Listen to what they say, their decisions are, what are their actions and reactions to things. Say they're often saying, I can't believe they did that to me. And you know, that's some bitterness or unforgiveness in there. Why do I always fail at that thing? Well, like, what's wrong with me? Why do I always get rejected by people? What's wrong with me? That's usually shame or feeling devalued, not very valuable.
Yeah.
So this is how to recognize. So we're going to give you guys some homework.
So 5 things, right?
Five
you
things.
said
Go over them again.
Thoughts. Words. Feelings. Reactions. And then actions. Those are 5 ways to identify a stronghold. Now, here's something really simple to do. As far as your thoughts, what you can do is I do this as often as I can. Is I'll find a quiet time, usually in the morning, and I'll take about 10 minutes, and I'll just close my eyes and I'll breathe, and I'll just focus on my breathing. And so what'll happen is when you just focus on your breathing, you'll know that when those automatic negative thoughts come up, you'll start veering towards that automatic negative thought or that default. And that's when you first become aware of it, like, why am I thinking about this? Now, it's not all bad, but you're trying to identify the negative one.
Right.
If you get up and all of a sudden worry happens, or fear starts, or again, that person you're thinking about in a negative way, just be silent. And what you're doing is you're recognizing that thought. Okay. The other thing you can do is right after that, what you can do is you can start scanning your brain or that subconscious area with the people that are close to you. So you start with, the people that are close to you. If you're married, your spouse, and what you do is you think about them, and then as you're thinking about them, think about the feeling you have about them. And if it's a negative feeling, well, just kind of ask yourself why. Like try to why am I mad at this person? So if you can scan those people, scan you. How do I feel about me? Scan your family, anybody that's close to you. Just take a moment to kind of scan them. Think about
all early, like in the morning when you're still very quiet.
Yep.
Just take a few minutes. Doesn't have to take a long time. A few minutes. So this is part of your homework, you guys. Every day this coming week, we want you to get up in the morning. Get to a place in the morning for a few minutes where you can focus on your breathing for a little bit, and then notice what your thoughts tend towards. Start thinking about the people close to you and how you feel about those people.
There's so many things that happen just with this kind of method. About being silent, but also focusing. Your brain actually loves focusing. It thrives on it. So there's a lot of things that are going to happen, but really you're trying to identify the negative thoughts. What I want you not to do is to get up and just go through the routine. Don't turn the television on. Do not go to social media. Just go, if you got to get some coffee, get it, but sit down in the chair, get into a place where you can kind of get some peace and some silence, focus on your breathing, but also get a journal or something and start writing down some of the things that you see are automatically moving in that area. That's a way that you can identify the thoughts that are coming from that area. So that's a good thing to do.
Right.
And throughout the day.
Yes.
Talk to a trusted friend about your words. That's always a really good way to identify those as well.
So we want you to write things down. When you notice what your thoughts are, what your feelings are towards people around you, towards yourself, what your words are, like asking your spouse or a close friend or somebody close to you, what kind of words do I say over and over about myself or about other people? Write those things down. So that's all your homework. Every single day, at least get up in the morning and kind of focus on where your thoughts are going.
That's it.
Okay?
Take a week to do that.
One week.
It's going to be good. You're going to start narrowing down. Yep. You're going to focus in, hone in on that thing. And then by the time we get to next week, you'll be ready to go.
Yes.
For that next thing we want to talk about.
Yes. So this is the very important part of the process, that you are just recognizing what it is, because we're going to teach you and show you how to release what is
Yes.
underneath there. Maybe
Right.
maybe it's shame or fear or whatever it is. Okay, so we're going to show you how to release it. Maybe it's your actions. You could eat when you're not hungry, and then maybe it's your feelings attached to that. Then you feel guilty. So write those things down. Okay. And then we will be back with you next week to help you release what's happening.
Good.
Beneath.
Recognize.
Yes.
Can't wait to see what happens. Good.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Love you guys.
Okay, love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Make sure you like and share this video, and I will also share it on YouTube. Okay. See you.